James Island Marine State Park is a beautiful island sea kayaking destination. Located in the Pacific Northwest, just east of Anacortes, it's a great kayaking day trip and also has 13 campsites for overnight trips. We're at the Skyline Marina just east of Anacortes, getting ready for a fast ferry ride to James Island to explore the island by both kayak and hiking trails. Just waiting to pick up the ferry. It's a beautiful sunny day, mostly sunny. Just a few clouds, beautiful temperature, about 70 degrees, no wind. And we're going to catch one of those little ferries out to James Island. It should be about a 25-minute trip. We're going to get the kayaks ready and be ready for a 9 a.m. departure.
Yeah.
Out of the Skyline Marina, we passed Burrows Island, another great kayaking trip I did earlier. I'll include a link below. And Washington Park on the right, another great kayaking launch point for the San Juan Islands. We had limited time and wanted to focus on James Island rather than this huge channel crossing, thus the fast ferry. Another way to get to James Island is by Washington Ferry to Lopez Island, but it was much faster to go directly from the mainland to James Island like this, so we could focus on the fun stuff faster. Rounding the southwest side of James Island, you can see Decatur Island on the left. After the quick 25-minute boat ride, we were already at the west bay of James Island. It was great to be at James Island, and we were excited about exploring its shoreline by kayak. So we're on the west bay of James Island, just getting ready for the circumnavigation of the island. We're going to go around the island. We've checked currents, and it all looks good. It shouldn't go much above a half a knot. And we're going to paddle through slack tide. It should take us about an hour and a half to go around the island at a relaxed pace. Beautiful day, totally clear out here, probably about a 2 or 3 knot wind. Temperature running about 70 degrees. Perfect for a paddle. So launching here on the west side of James Island was actually really straightforward. The fast ferry put us in at the dock. We wheeled the kayaks up, got them off the carts. We actually just locked the carts to the fence and just launched the kayaks right off the beach. It was pretty low tide, so we had a little ways to carry the kayaks, but not too bad. Yeah, pretty calm here in the bay. It's a pretty deep bay. We're going to paddle anti-clockwise around the island. We're going to stick pretty close to the island. The kelp forests around James Island were incredible. Clear evidence that the area had some healthy currents. Wow, look how clear the water is. You can see the kelp running right down like 20 feet or so. It's really pretty. And I see the kelp is hanging mostly. It's not straight. And you know, when its fronds are straight near the surface, that's telling you about the current. So we're pretty close to slack current right now. So we're now heading towards the south end of James Island. We're going anti-clockwise, and on my right-hand side, that is Decatur Island. There's another nice paddle there behind that tombola. You see the sand spit going out to that island. It's called a tombola. On the other side of that, there's a nice bay to paddle. We may not get to that today. Maybe that'll be next time. One of the campers was telling us the currents and the rip currents around this island can get pretty significant. So definitely recommend plan your paddles. So straight ahead of me there is Burroughs Island, that's the tall one, and then a little bit to the left of that is Washington Park. That big bump between Washington Park and Burroughs Island, that's Mount Erie. So James Island is meant to have trails all around it. I mean around the campsites, but also around each of the lobes of the sort of saddle. So very much look forward to hiking around the island when we get back to the West Bay. We're also going to be exploring the campsites for a possible overnight camp in the future. So those rocks on my right, just past Nick, are the Bird Rocks. Might be a good kayak destination if we were going to cross over to the mainland, but we're not going to do that today. Little beach on the south side of James Island. This one's a little bit rocky near the low tide mark. Not as nice as the sandy beaches on the east and the west bays. Oh, I see another one up ahead on my left. The one's doing a Superman on that rock, see him? All right, buddy. We're just passing through. These kelp beds must provide really good hunting grounds for fish. And the water's got that beautiful sort of almost greenish color to it that's characteristic of this area. And if you look at the far distance there, straight ahead of the kayak, you can see Mount Baker looking really beautiful. And straight up ahead of Nick there, you see the ferry. That ferry could be coming from like San Juan Island or Orcas Island or Shaw Island, Lopez Island. That ferry will put in right near Washington Park. So we're now on the southeast side of James Island, and you can see there's a little bit more waves. Not serious, maybe half a foot. The water temperature is definitely very cool. We're going to be paddling very close to shore today, not more than 20-30 feet. But if you were going to attempt any kind of crossing of these channels, I would definitely recommend wearing a wetsuit or a dry suit. And we're just coming into the East Bay of James Island here. Beautiful.
We're paddling 16-foot touring kayaks today, with dual bulkheads and rudders, well suited to this kind of sea kayaking trip. ferry wake here. Hey Nick, do you see the eagle? Hi.
James Island is a super popular kayaking destination, especially for kayak campers, with its great campsites. Looking forward to exploring the campground and the island trails once we get back to the West Bay. We're now at the northeast side of James Island, just entering the channel between Decatur Island and James Island.
We're going to head back to the west bay of James Island and park and have some lunch and explore the island. You can see a little bit of a current right now from the south. Probably about one knot, maybe 2 knots.
This was an interesting experience. We had checked currents in this area ahead of time on deepzoom.com, and they should not have been over 0.6 knots. However, this area is a choke point where currents get amplified, resulting in the significantly stronger current we were experiencing.
It's a good workout, hey? And let's put some muscle in and we'll get ahead of that corner and then we'll be into the bay. Must be going at about 2 knots here. That's quite surprising.
After a strong paddling sprint, we made it out of the choke point and into the West Bay of James Island. We were ready for a rest, to soak up some sun, have some lunch, and explore the campground and trails around James Island.
So overall, I would say that paddle was fun, very scenic. You get to see like all around the side of Decatur, and you get to see over to Burroughs Island, Washington Park, Anacortes. I think north you can see Orcas Island on the other side. And yeah, I would just say the currents were a little bit stronger than expected. It was supposed to not go above 0.6 knots either way. We were paddling through slack tide, but coming around the northwest side of James Island, definitely saw the current go probably up to about 2, maybe 2.5 knots. So there was some serious paddling there, good workout, but nothing major. What was your take on it, Nick? What did you like?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a nice length of paddle, not too difficult. Saw a bunch of seals, which is cool.
Yeah, eagle.
Saw an eagle too.
Kingfisher. Yeah, it was great. And yeah, good for a day paddle.
Really nice dock on the west side of James Island. Our fast ferry dropped us off on the dock, and we took our kayaks to the beach using kayak carts. It's a beautiful, clear day. Visibility is at least 50 miles. It's mid-July and we haven't seen any of the wildfire smoke yet, which often comes later in the summer. We passed lots of other friendly kayakers around the island. Alright, time for some lunch in the picnic area overseeing the West Bay.
Beautiful little picnic table for lunch. Nice little picnic lunch here. Wow, what a perfect view. We were looking into the bay towards the west, so that's Decatur Island across there. So across the way there on Decatur Island you can see that fog bank coming in.
It's amazing the time now. What would you say, Nick? 11:30?
Time is 11:31.
11:30 in the morning, and we got fog rolling in. Really interesting. Good thing we're done our kayak. As we had our lunch and soaked up some sun, we watched the mist clear and currents build in the bay. In part 3 of our adventure, we set out to explore the campground and trails around the island, scouting for a possible overnight camp here at some point in the future. One of the things we discovered quickly is that all of the official marked trails on the island were either around the campground at the center of the island or in the southwest quadrant. The campground spanned a beautiful grassy area across the saddle of the island beneath the pine trees, with a nice cool breeze blowing through.
Wow, look at this campsite. This is really nice. East Cove Camp Area, 0.2 miles. Big kayak group down there. Must be nice camping here, just hearing the waves lap against the shore.
The island had beautiful tall trees that let in just the right amount of sunshine, so it was shady but not too dark.
Here's a nice sight. Look at this. Beautiful open area. View. All right, let's cut in here, Nick, and see if we can find a trail going out to the left. And we're heading back to the west side to see if we can pick up a trail that goes along the shore. Wow, this is beautiful, eh, Nick? Look at that big old tree. Looks like a perfect eagle perch. Oh yeah, this looks like the south side. That's Bird Rocks over there. Burroughs Island is a big one. Pretty rugged though. You would not want to fall in there.
That's Decatur Island on the left, with Blakely behind. To the north behind James Island is Cypress Island, then Guimas Island, with Mount Baker behind, Washington Park, Burroughs Island, and Allen Island.
Where this cliff walk is not for the faint of heart, eh, Nick? You're walking right along the edge. Beautiful view. So we're now mid-July. It's amazing how dry the island is already. This grass is dry. So one of the nice things about this island is it's got great coverage. We're getting 5G here. Not a problem. But the campsite doesn't have any fresh water. You got to bring all your own fresh water, and they also don't have trash service, so you got to take out whatever you bring. So we're coming back to the bay with the dock where we put our kayaks on the west side. Looks like we're going to go up on the bluff, Nick. We'll get a nice view of the bay. Oh, beautiful view of the bay there. You can see our kayaks up on the beach just to the left of the dock. That's a kingfisher, can you hear it? Yep. They make a really distinctive sound. Wow, look at this big old gnarly tree. Beautiful little beach down there. Hey, here's a campsite. This one's deep in the trees. Yeah, another campsite. This one looks more recently used. Let's check it out. Wow, this one's huge. You could probably put a whole group in here. Yeah, it's enormous. Another nice campsite on this side, a little bit more open view of the water. All right, Nick, let's go this way. It says to the West Cove Dock, 0.4 miles, supposedly difficult. Let's check it out. Probably just means it's a bit steep. It's going right up the cliff here. You can just see the end of the dock there and across the Decatur. I would not class this path as difficult. Maybe that first section was a little steep, but the path earlier going around that rocky slope was more tricky. Looks like a nice little viewpoint here. I see people have gone down here. Nice picnic spot. Going down here is probably going to be a little bit more tricky from a gravel standpoint, keeping your traction. And we're just coming into the campgrounds in the middle, sort of saddle of the island. This is the West Cove campground right ahead of us. Okay, look at this big old tree, Nick. That's probably several hundred years old, but you can see the burn marks. They go up probably 20 feet at least. It's really beautiful how they have this sort of grassy area in the middle with these open trees. Breeze can go right through. It probably really helps keeping the mosquitoes and things down. I haven't seen a single mosquito, a single fly. It's been beautiful.
We did hear from other campers on the island that raccoons are alive and well, and you have to protect your food either in a lock-in cooler or hang it in a tree. Officially, the only trails on the island are around the middle and the southwest areas. After exploring the southwest part of the island, we decided to check if there were any trails around the northern part of the island to explore.
Okay, here's a path. Let's see where this goes. Okay, this looks a lot steeper. I don't think we'll do that one.
Unfortunately, even the unmarked trails on the north part of the island look dicey. Given more time, one could potentially explore further, but for us, it was time to head back to our kayaks for the return trip.
All right, we're back at the beach. Temperature now, what would you say, Nick? 65? Nice breeze, 5 knots. So cool. You want to lie on these hot rocks on the beach to get warmed up.
It was interesting seeing the currents come right into the West Bay, swirling around the boats. Another indication of the strength of the currents around James Island, and the importance of planning your paddle carefully to ensure you don't get into currents you're not comfortable with. After a short wait, we loaded our kayaks onto the fast ferry from James Island back to Skyline Marina. After just a few minutes, we were already at the west side of Burroughs Island, looking at the lighthouse. We passed by a hardcore kayaker, facing heavy rip currents, and we were glad to have the ferry ride home rather than having to paddle through that. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, we'd love your support if you want to give us a thumbs up. We've had many amazing kayaking and camping trips this summer, and have a huge backlog of videos. Subscribe and you'll be notified as we publish. If you have any comments, questions, or updates, we'd love you to leave a comment below. Kayaking is fun in a group. If you have any friends or family that would be interested in this video, we'd love you to share it. With that, happy kayaking, be safe out there. Bye for now.